I have had this for a bit now, and a few people ask me about it, so here is my take. It is an L-shaped desk meant for someone who wants a corner setup, or just wants two connected surfaces for separating work stuff from personal stuff. I use it as a mix of home office and editing desk, with one side for my main computer and monitors, and the other side for writing, paperwork, and whatever device I am testing that week. If you like having zones, this layout makes sense. If you only ever use one laptop and nothing else, it might feel like more desk than you need. What made me even consider it was that it tries to solve a few everyday problems without getting complicated. It includes two fabric drawers for storage, removable monitor risers, and a built-in power strip that sits in the desktop. Those are all things I normally add later with separate accessories, so having them integrated was the main reason I wanted to try it. When it showed up, the packaging stood out in a good way. Everything inside was wrapped and separated, so I was not pulling scratched panels out of a box full of loose parts. The boards were protected well, and my set arrived without dents or chipped corners. That matters because desks like this can get beat up in shipping, and you do not always know until you are halfway through assembly. The look is pretty straightforward. It is a wood tone top with a black metal frame. In my room it reads as modern but not flashy. It does not look like a decorative furniture piece, it looks like a practical workstation. The surface has that laminated feel most flat-pack desks have, but it has held up fine to daily use so far. I have slid a keyboard, moved a microphone arm around, and dragged a couple of heavier items across it without seeing obvious marks. I still use a desk mat for my main area, mostly because I like the feel, not because the top feels fragile. The frame feels solid once it is tightened down. When I first put it together, I did have to go back and retighten a few screws after a couple of days, which is normal for furniture that settles a little. After that, it stopped shifting. When I type, the desk does not wobble in a way that distracts me. If I put my weight on the front edge and lean in, there is some movement, but that is true for a lot of desks in this category. For normal work and normal sitting posture, it has been stable. Setup was not a stressful build, and that is coming from someone who usually does not enjoy assembling furniture. The instructions were clear, and the parts were labeled in a way that actually matched what I had in front of me. I laid everything out before starting, and that saved time. The desk gives you two different configuration methods for how the L shape can be arranged, which is helpful if your room forces the longer side to go one way. I liked having that option, because my first plan did not fit once I measured the corner properly. It also includes the tools you need, so I did not have to hunt for anything. The only thing I personally recommend is taking it slow on the first few steps and making sure the frame is squared up before fully tightening everything. If you tighten too early, you can end up fighting alignment later when the top panels go on. Once I did that, the rest went smoothly. The fabric drawers were something I was unsure about. Fabric sounds flimsy, and I expected them to sag. In daily use, they have been more rigid than I thought. Each drawer has a stiff base insert, so it does not collapse when you put items inside. I keep cables, small tools, and random desk items in the smaller one, and it stays shaped. The larger drawer has a rail that lets you hang file folders. I did not think I would use that, but I ended up putting a few active documents there so they are not stacked on the desktop. The drawers slide in and out cleanly. They are not like metal rails on a filing cabinet, but they also do not scrape or snag. They do the job. The built-in power unit is one of the parts I use every day. It drops into a cutout in the desktop and clamps down with screws, so it feels secure instead of being a loose power strip taped underneath. It gives me 3 standard outlets and 2 universal serial bus ports. In practice, that means my laptop charger, monitor power, and a desk lamp can all plug in right on the desk, and I use the universal serial bus ports for charging a phone or a small accessory. It helps keep cords from falling behind the desk, and it cuts down on the number of adapters I need. One practical note, the cords still need managing. I used a couple of ties underneath to keep everything from hanging, because the power unit makes it easy to plug things in, but it does not automatically hide the cables. The removable monitor risers are a nice option depending on your setup. They have silicone pads so they do not slide around, and you can choose whether to use them. I tested both ways. With the risers on, my monitors sat at a more comfortable height for me, and I got a little extra space underneath for a small notebook and a docking station. Without them, the desk feels more open and lower, which might be better if you already have monitor arms. I like that I am not forced into one layout. You can also secure them more permanently if you want, but I left them removable because I move things around. In real use, the L shape is the main benefit. On busy days, I keep my main screen, keyboard, and microphone on one side, and the other side becomes a clean area for writing and sorting papers. When I am doing computer work for a long stretch, I appreciate being able to rotate my chair and have a second surface that is not covered in cables and gear. It sounds simple, but it changes how clutter builds up. I still make a mess sometimes, but it is easier to reset the space. There are a couple limitations worth saying out loud. The drawers are useful, but they are not lockable, and they are not meant for heavy loads. If you plan to store a lot of weight, you will want a separate cabinet. The desk surface is easy to clean, but it is still a laminated top, so I would avoid leaving hot items directly on it. Another small thing is that assembly takes some time. It is not hard, but it is still a real build, and you need space on the floor to lay out parts and flip sections over. If you live in a tight apartment, plan for that. Overall, this desk has been easy to live with. It looks clean in a room. It gives me 2 usable work zones. The drawers keep small items off the desktop, and the built-in power makes my daily setup less annoying. It is not trying to be fancy. It is just a functional L-shaped desk with a few add-ons that actually get used. You can view detailed information about the Furologee 66 L-shaped computer desk in the comments section. Thank you for watching.